Hello and thank you for coming to my video today, guys. I really appreciate it. This is how to create a Cardano stake pool in the Haskell testnet part 2. If you guys want to support me, I accept BAT, I accept donations down below, and then I also have a stake pool on the HTN. We currently have 2.94 million, and then we have an average ROI of around 12%. I told you guys it was going to go back up. It happens sometimes, but I do want to mention that yesterday we actually got 6 blocks. That's 6 blocks with the small amount of ADA I have. That's about 6 times the amount that I was supposed to get. I'm really happy about that. All of my delegates, I'm sure, are really happy about that. If you guys also want to join my Discord server and get node support, click that link down below. We have a Cardano node support in there. It's kind of the alternative to Telegram. I want to build a nice community of knowledgeable people in there. And then also we answer questions about anything Cardano. And then also, if you guys could follow me on my Twitter, it's big__pay. I'll put that in the link down below. But let me know what you guys think of this video. I would appreciate it if you guys shared it, left a like, subscribed, and turned on notifications. I've really been trying to do a lot lately. I don't get paid anything for these videos. I'm about to actually monetize my channel, so it's coming soon. But either way, thank you. I hope you enjoy the video. Here, so we're going to call it wallet 2, and then we're going to CD into wallet 2. And then we're going to start making those keys. So there's 4 different types of keys that we need to make to build an address. There's payment keys and there's stake keys. And with each different type, the payment and stake, there's going to be a verification key and there's also going to be a secret key. So we're going to start off making the verification and the secret key for the payment style. So what you need to type in is Cardano CLI Shelly address keygen, and then verification -key -file, and then payment.vkey. Then we also need to do the signing key file, and then payment.skey. So the only difference is the V key and the S key, and then obviously the different argument. So no news is good news in Linux. We can type ls to check, and look, it worked. So now we need to generate the stake keys. So it's pretty similar, but it's going to be Cardano-CLI, and then I think it's actually stake address. Or no, it's Shelly and then stake address. Build, or no, it's actually keygen. Builds for the address. I apologize for that. And then it's the same thing, the verification -key -file. But we're going to call this one stake.vkey, just so we can tell the difference. And then signing -key -file, stake.skey. So now we can see we got all 4 of those verification key files that we need. So now all we need to do is generate the address. And then the address is what we're going to be used to get money from the faucet. And it's also the address that you're going to give people if you need payments on the testnet. And then if you guys post your address below, I'll send you guys some ADA. So Cardano, Shelly, and then I mean your testnet, obviously. Build, and then we need to reference the verification files, not the secret keys. So just the V keys. And then we need the out dash file, and then we're going to call that payment.addr. You can call this whatever you want, but if I were you guys, I would keep it the same as me in case you guys need to copy commands that I use from my Discord server. And then testnet magic 42 like always. Then we can type in ls. And then to view that payment address, we can type in cat, and you can view any text files in Linux with cat. And then look, there it is. We're good to go. So we've got that address built. So now we're going to be going over the command that we use to actually check if there's any ADA in that address. But we need to touch on that socket thing that we mentioned earlier. So first you need to have your node running and you need to have your socket placed, but you also have to use this command. And what you're doing is you're exporting a Linux variable to your socket path so Cardano CLI can reference this. And if I were you guys, I would copy this from the IOHK Cardano tutorials. I'll have that link down below. But we need to actually go in here and change the path to our relays DB socket. So remember, tilde references stuff in your home. So we need to do tilde /pool /relay /db and then /socket. So if our node is working and we referenced our socket right, we should be able to do this command. I went ahead and did this earlier and made sure it wasn't working so you guys can see what that error looks like. This means that either your node's not working or you're not referencing your socket right. And if you're not referencing your socket right, then maybe that socket's not set up. So you just guys need to make sure you go in there and check that. But that's one of the main issues you're going to run into this. So then we're going to type in Cardano CLI Shelly query UTXO -- address. And we're going to get that address from the cat payment.addr from earlier. And then obviously testnet magic 42. So if everything's working, you should get this right here, TX hash, TXIX, and Lovelace. And we're good to go. Obviously, you're not going to have anything in here because you haven't received any ADA from the faucet just yet. So finally, we need to build our stake address. And to do that, it's similar to what we've been doing earlier. Just going to be Cardano -CLI Shelly. I spelled Shelly wrong like always. Stake address build -- staking verification -file. So it's key file. And then stake.vkey. So we're just referencing that staking verification file that we made earlier. And then the out file is going to be stake.addr because it's an address. And that just makes it nice and neat for us. And then testnet magic 42. We type in ls and then cat stake.addr to check that. And we're good to go. So now that we have both of our addresses ready, we're going to go ahead and request ADA from a faucet. And right now it's given out 100,000 Lovelaces, which is quite a lot. It's a good amount. I think you can get that once per day. So I would go ahead and copy this directly from the Cardano node. Again, that link's down below. But what you want to do, and I also want to explain this Linux thing that's really cool. So since we're in wallet 2, remember that's where we build our addresses. For you guys, it would be wallet 1 if it's your first wallet. But we're going to change what they say right here, and we're going to put payment.addr. So what this is doing, when you put a money sign with parentheses and then cat, it's reading that file. So it just saves us from typing it in. It's really cool. But we also need to add that quotation mark at the end right here. The double quote. And it looks like it worked. Yep, success, true amount. I think that would be 100 million Lovelaces, but it's what we actually got was 100,000 ADA. And that should take a second. We can go ahead and check, but it might take a little bit longer. Yep, so I'm going to bring us back when we have that in there. So now the last thing we're going to do in this video is register the stake address. And you need to do this to actually build your stake pool. But if you run that command again, you just got to make sure that you got them Lovelaces. And you can see here the TX ID. That means we are good to go. So we're still in wallet 1. We'll just go ahead and stay in here. But this is why I wanted you guys to create a separate wallet folder in case you guys need to do this again, because there's a lot of keys, there's a lot of stuff going on in here. So the first command you want to type out is Cardano CLI Shelly stake -address registration -certificate. And then, like I said, if I were you guys, I would type this out so you understand what you're doing. I often type these things out. So then we're going to reference that stake.vkey, the verification key file for the stake part of our wallet. And then we're going to make that out file stake.cert. So we can type ls to see if that's in there. We can do cat stake.cert to make sure everything went dandy. And then the next thing we're going to do is calculate the minimum fee. And this is when it starts to get a little, how should I say this, saucy. It's just, I always mess this up for some reason. The fee calculation is not the bad part. It's later on. It's when you actually build the transaction. But if you guys follow along, you'll understand what's going on. It's not too bad. So we'll start building this. This is a pretty long command, and these commands do get pretty long, but we do have to deal with it. So I am going to explain what's going on while I'm typing it in. So txn count. This means how many TXs are you going to use. So if you look up here, the TX hash, if we had 2 of these, so say there's 100,000 ADA here. I think that's what this is. 100 million Lovelace is 100,000 ADA. Say we need to send 200,000 ADA. Well, what we would do is do txn count 2 if we had 100,000 here and 100,000 here, because we would have to reference both of these. But since we're only doing 1, the txn count is going to be 1. And then tx-out-count is going to be 1. And that's just, if you were setting this to multiple people, it would be 2, but most of the time it's only going to be 1, especially for the stuff we're doing right now. And then we're doing --TTL. More on that later. We still have to figure out that number. And then --testnet-magic 42. And then we need to reference all of the signing key files that we need. And this is what makes fees different, is how many signing key files and then how many certifications you're using. So we need to do signing key file, and then we need the payment.skey, and then signing key file. We need stake.skey, and then don't feel bad if you guys messed typing this stuff in. It's pretty easy to do so because it is so much. And then eventually this is all going to be automated away with scripts, but it's really good for you to do this right now to get the knowledge of what's actually going on under these scripts. And then we also need to reference the protocol-params-file, and then that's going to be called protocol.json, but we still have to make that. And then we're also going to figure out what we put in for TTL. So to figure out what you put in for TTL, you need to get the slot, and you kind of have to predict ahead of when you actually want this transaction to go through. So first thing we need to do is Cardano-CLI Shelly query tip, and then we also need to add the testnet magic. I was doing that off the top of my head, so I forgot the testnet magic. Can't forget that. So we see the tip right here is 76.4. So what is that? 764,169. So you want to guess ahead. So for TTL, TTL is when you're going to send it. That's the slot that you're going to send it in. And you have to have time to actually type all these out. So if I were you guys, I would guess ahead. And since I'm taking so long in the video, I'm going to actually guess much further ahead than I need to. But for the TTL, we're going to do 76. We'll say 500. I might be guessing too far, I might be guessing too early, but it's just a placeholder. We're getting the fee. The fee shouldn't be much different if you guess that wrong, but the next thing we need to do is build that protocol params file for us so we can actually do this. Okay, so what we need to do to get this protocol params file is do Cardano-CLI, and then as always, Shelly, and then we're actually going to bring up old query again. And then it's going to be protocol-parameters. And then we need to bring in old testnet magic. And then we're going to make that out file again. And then we're going to call this params.json. We're going to go ahead and call it protocol.json because that is what we did reference earlier. So you can call this stuff whatever you want. But if you're following me, I would call it the same as me. So I did mess something up. I spelled protocol parameter wrong. I just need an S. There we go. So we can type in ls to say that that's there. And then now that we go back up and run this command, we should get our minimum fee. So as always, and you guys are going to have this too, you're going to run into little text issues. And then Yep, it's just I spelled something wrong. You guys might have saw it while I was doing it, but I wasn't actually looking at it while I was doing it. So that will happen. So look, no error. Okay, we got our minimum fee. We're good to go. So the fees, like I said earlier, they change based on how many files you're referencing. And then now we're going to start building our transaction. So before we start building our transaction, we need to figure out a couple things. We're going to go ahead and do query tip. When we were calculating our minimum fee, we did guess. Let's see what we guessed. We guessed 765,500. We're at 764,400, so we still have time. We're going to be able to do this in time. We might even want to make it a little earlier. I might do 250 instead. But we're also going to have to figure out the TX out amount. So to find the TX out amount, we need to do that query UTXO again to get that, which I think was 100 million, but we're just going to copy the numbers because screw actually doing this math or guessing what these numbers are, because we deal with such big numbers. It's kind of awful. You guys are going to realize how awful this actually is. So you take this big number, and then we're going to subtract that fee, and then we're going to subtract the amount that we need to. So there's a certain cost to this, and that's the key deposit, which I think is 40,000. So we're going to go to Google and type this in, because I'm on Linux. I don't know if there's a Linux calculator. I'm sure there is, but we're going to paste this number in, and then we're going to subtract the fee. You guys can see my other fees on Google right there. Subtract the fee, which we need to actually get. Make this a little smaller. Sorry if you can't see that number, but all I'm doing is subtracting the fee that I got earlier from the calculate the minimum fee, which was 171,309. Your guys's may be different, so make sure you don't copy this, or it might be the same, but you just need to run that yourself. So 171,309, and then we're going to subtract one more number, and that's going to be it's going to be 400,000. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So then, like I said, I mess this up all the time, but you guys are getting a little help from me, so it might be a little easier for you. So you want to keep that number down there because you're going to need to copy it. So then what we're going to do is start building this transaction. So we're going to do Cardano-CLI Shelly, the old classic transaction. Build raw TXN, or it's TX-N. And then this argument right here is going to be this TXN right here. And then after that, we have to do a hashtag and then 0. And then dash dash TX out. The X button is broken on my keyboard. Okay, so TX out. And then we're going to do the cat payment address that we did earlier, the little cool thing. So we are in wallet 2, so we can do this. So we need to do money sign parentheses cat payment.addr, because remember that just reads that payment file. And then we're going to have to do plus, and then we're going to do this thing right here, this number that we came up with earlier. That's why we calculated that. And then we need to do the fee, or we'll do TTL first. And the TTL that we set earlier, see, what you guys can do to figure out how far it's gonna be away, you can press enter, and look, it'll save that up by pressing up arrow key. But what you need to do is query that tip again to see when the TTL is gonna be. So look, we're still not even close. So I'm gonna go ahead and change that from, I should be able to lower it a little bit without it messing up the fee, but if it does mess up the fee, we will see why. But everything I'm saying still does stand. So the TTL is going to be 7, and we want to go ahead and make that 6, 5, make it 6, 5, 100, just to give us a little bit more time. And then we need to do dash dash fee, and then we need to write down that fee. So it was 171,309. And then we needed the out file, out dash file, tx.raw. And then I had a little bit of change of heart. I just want this to work. I don't want any issues. So I'm gonna go ahead and make this 765,500 just in case the fee's different. I don't think it makes the fee any different, but I don't want to mess with it. I don't want to be wrong. So then we need the out file to be tx.raw -- certificate -file, and then we need that stake.cert file that we made earlier. And we should be good to go. See, look, no errors, we're good to go. So then now we have to sign that with both of our secret keys. So we're gonna do Cardano -CLI Shelly transaction sign tx body -file tx.raw -- signing -key -file payment .skey -- signing -key -file stake.skey. We're just referencing both of our secret keys, as I've said 100 times. Testnet -magic. Did I spell that right? Yeah, I did. Testnet magic 42. And then we're going to have another out file for this. And it's going to be tx.signed. No issues there. So now we have one last command to finish this. Cardano -CLI Shelly transaction submit. And then we're going to have to reference that signed TX file, and then have to reference testnet magic 42, and then we can see if it worked. UTXO failure, the value not conserved. So I'm going to figure out this error, and then we're going to jump back. So I figured out the issue, and then I'm going to show you guys me problem solving on this, because it is really important. You guys have to figure out how to solve these errors. So look at that error message we got. Value not conserved. That means I just did some math wrong. So upon looking back at what I did, I think I forgot to add an extra 0 in here. So we can go ahead, add that extra 0, click search, should change our number a bit. And then we should just be able, since we made it so far away, we should be able to just go back up to the Shelly build raw and then actually change that number. So I copied that number again there, Control-Shift-V, put that in there, and then we could just enter it, and then we can just go through and use, and this is what's nice, we can just use the exact same commands, and we can see if the submit works, or if I played myself again. Okay, look, the transaction submit. If you guys didn't get any error messages after that submit, that means we did good. That means your stake address has now been registered. I'm sorry for making these videos a little shorter. I just kind of wanted to get them out faster. I really appreciate you making it this far. If you guys made it this far, make sure you comment your address down below, and I'll send you just some amount of ADA, and then also comment testnet magic 42 if you made it this far. I really do appreciate all the support you guys have been giving me. I hope you have a wonderful day. Goodbye.